Thank you for joining us today for We Know Their Names, a virtual Srebrenica commemoration. My name is Adesada Dudic-Hoke. I currently reside in the Northeast region of the United States of America, and my family are survivors of the Srebrenica genocide. We have gathered virtually today to honor the victims and survivors of the genocide in Srebrenica that occurred in 1995 from July 11 through July 22nd. 8,373 Bosnian Muslims, primarily men and boys, were executed in the Srebrenica region of Bosnia and Herzegovina. And today, July 11th, we recognize this day as a day of mourning as we commemorate the Srebrenica genocide. Following the death of Yugoslavia's primary leader, Josip Broz Tito, Islamophobic ethno-nationalism continued to spread across the country. As Slovenia and Croatia declared their independence, the control and military resources of the Yugoslav National Army became centralized in Serbia. The Islamophobic rhetoric and warmongering deeply troubled the residents of Bosnia and Herzegovina, leading to their desire for sovereignty in 1991. Despite a lack of international recognition for independence, the people of Bosnia and Herzegovina held a referendum in the spring of 1992 to affirm their quest for independence from the Socialist Federal Republic of Yugoslavia. With a high voter turnout exceeding 60%, an overwhelming 99.7% of voters expressed their support for an independent Bosnia and Herzegovina. On April 6, 1992, Bosnia and Herzegovina received recognition as an independent nation. In response, ethno-nationalist Bosnian Serbs, with support from the Yugoslav National Army, which has centralized its power in Serbia, launched a military campaign to occupy the territory and targeted the Muslim civilian population. The Serbia militia inflicted terror through resource deprivation, ethnic expulsion, mental, physical, and sexual torture through concentration camp imprisonment, mutilation, sexual trafficking, and forced birthing. After 3 years of occupation, Srebrenica was overrun by Bosnian Serb forces under the leadership of General Ratko Mladic. Despite being designated as a safe area by the United Nations in 1993, UN peacekeepers who were responsible for the safety of the thousands of people who took shelter in Srebrenica effectively allowed Mladic and his forces to systematically separate Bosniak men and boys from Bosniak women and girls to be tortured, sexually assaulted, and/or executed. The aftermath of the Srebrenica genocide left deep scars on Bosnia and Herzegovina. According to the International Commission of Missing Persons, of the 8,373 who were murdered in Srebrenica, 7,017 have been identified, while there are still over 1,000 missing. The genocide in Bosnia and Herzegovina as a whole displaced 2 million people and ended the lives of over 100,000 people, 80% of whom were Muslims. Between 20,000 and 50,000 women were sexually assaulted. Over 30,000 people, including men, women, children, and the elderly, were imprisoned in concentration camps. Despite the ongoing threat of violence and discrimination faced by survivors in Bosnia and Herzegovina, their brave testimonies played a crucial role in pursuing justice. The International Criminal Tribunal for former Yugoslavia and the International Court of Justice recognized the events in Srebrenica as genocide and took steps to hold some of those who were responsible accountable. Today, you will hear from dozens of volunteers from around the world who have taken the time to read the names of the 8,373 Srebrenica genocide victims. While you may not know these names personally, we want you to take the time to listen and/or read the names being recited. You may hear or see the same name multiple times, and it is not an error. You may hear or see the same age and name of the victims, and that is not an error either. Those were all individuals who died in Srebrenica. The genocide in Bosnia serves as a stark reminder of the horrors of war and the devastating consequences of ethnic hatred. July 11th is vital in preserving the historical record and countering denial and revisionism. By remembering and documenting the atrocities committed during the Srebrenica genocide, we confront the past and reject any attempt to distort or deny the truth. It stands as a collective commitment to truth-telling, justice, and accountability. And the first truth that must be spoken is a name. With our program today, we will know all 8,373 of their names.
Hello, my name is Tariq Purivatra, and today I will be reading a list of 100 victims who were murdered in the genocide in Srebrenica. Abdullah Memic, 45 years old. Abdurrahman Memic, 42 years old. Adem Memic, 36 years old. Adem Memic, 39 years old. Adil Memic, 18 years old. Admir Memic, unknown age at death. Ahmed Memic, 20 years old. Ahmet Memic, 66 years old. Alia Memic, 57 years old. Avdia Memic, 14 years old. Bayro Memic, 30 years old. Bego Memic, 41 years old. Bekir Memic, 27 years old. Beriz Memic, 25 years old. Edin Memic, unknown age at death. Hayrudin Memic, 43 years old. Halil Memic, 16 years old. Hassan Memic, 62 years old. Hassan Memic, 65 years old. Hassan Memic, unknown age at death. Hashim Memic, 33 years old. Ibish Memic, 23 years old. Ibrahim Memic, 56 years old. Ibro Memic, 56 years old. Idris Memic, 33 years old. Yusuf Memic, 54 years old. Yusuf Memic, 75 years old. Mefail Memic, 23 years old. Memia Memic, 22 years old. Nejad Memic, 17 years old. Nejad Memic, 21 years old. Najib Memic, 40 years old. Nurif Memic, 58 years old. Nuria Memic, 31 years old. Omer Memic, 53 years old. Osman Memic, 27 years old. Osman Memic, 45 years old. Rashid Memic, 36 years old. Rejo Memic, 44 years old. Reshad Memic, 25 years old. Rashid Memic, unknown age at death. Rizo Memic, 19 years old. Shaban Memic, 53 years old. Sadik Memic, 24 years old. Safet Memic, 26 years old. Shahin Memic, 41 years old. Sakib Memic, 27 years old. Seda Memic, unknown age at death. Shamsuddin Memic, 22 years old. Shefko Memic, 31 years old. Sidik Memic, 35 years old. Suljo Memic, 49 years old. Uzair Memic, 57 years old. Zuriyet Memic, 35 years old. Adil Memishevic, 46 years old. Ahmet Memishevic, 16 years old. Alia Memishevic, 61 years old. Amir Memishevic, 30 years old. Azem Memishevic, 24 years old. Bego Memishevic, 67 years old. Edhem Memishevic, 42 years old. Hayrudin Memishevic, 22 years old. Hazim Memishevic, 29 years old. Yasmin Memishevic, 19 years old. Yusuf Memishevic, 27 years old. Mahmud Memishevic, 63 years old. Mehmed Memishevic, 56 years old. Mehmed Alia Memishevic, 35 years old. Meho Memishevic, 61 years old. Memish Memishevic, 41 years old. Mensur Memishevic, 39 years old. Munib Memishevic, 57 years old. Mustafa Memishevic, 18 years old. Mustafa Memishevic, 35 years old. Nezir Memishevic, 63 years old. Nuria Memishevic, 76 years old. Shaban Memishevic, 50 years old. Sabit Memishevic, 35 years old. Shachir Memishevic, 42 years old. Salkuna Memishevic, 85 years old. Sedalia Memishevic, unknown age at death. Seifo Memishevic, unknown age at death. Ziad Memishevic, 23 years old. Fadil Merajic, 29 years old. Hussein Merajic, 39 years old. Mulo Merajic, 26 years old. Shaban Merajic, 61 years old. Sabria Merajic, 52 years old. Saria Merajic, 49 years old. Azmir Merjic, 31 years old. Edhem Merjic, 36 years old. Kemal Merjic, 60 years old. Mujo Merjic, 30 years old. Ramo Merjic, 62 years old. Refik Merjic, 36 years old. Reuf Merjic, 26 years old. Safet Merjic, 46 years old. Salih Merjic, 54 years old.
Abdullah Mishanovic, 60 years old. Adem Mishanovic, 34 years old. Adem Mishanovic, 56 years old. Alia Mishanovic, 56 years old. Arif Mishanovic, 54 years old. Azim Mishanovic, 34 years old. Azmir Mishanovic, 26 years old. Bayro Mishanovic, 66 years old. Behadel Mishanovic, 30 years old. Bekir Mishanovic, 23 years old. Jamal Mishanovic, 32 years old. Fadil Mishanovic, unknown age. Haidar Mishanovic, 31 years old. Hayrudin Mishanovic, 23 years old. Hakia Mishanovic, 34 years old. Hamdia Mishanovic, 40 years old. Ibrahim Mishanovic, 49 years old. Idris Mishanovic, 19 years old. Yusuf Mishanovic, 36 years old. Meho Mishanovic, 53 years old. Mensur Mishanovic, 43 years old. Mevludin Mishanovic, 23 years old. Mevludin Mishanovic, 26 years old. Mirza Mishanovic, 16 years old. Muya Mishanovic, 32 years old. Mustafa Mishanovic, 34 years old. Nazif Mishanovic, 37 years old. Nazir Mishanovic, 21 years old. Amir Mishanovic, 21 years old. Ragib Mishanovic, 66 years old. Ramiz Mishanovic, 30 years old. Rama Mishanovic, 30 years old. Shaban Mishanovic, 47 years old. Shahin Mishanovic, 53 years old. Salih Mishanovic, 75 years old. Shefik Mishanovic, 16 years old. Senad Mishanovic, 20 years old. Sulya Mishanovic, 41 years old. Zulfa Mishanovic, 51 years old. Hassan Mesht, 36 years old. Hasib Mesht, 58 years old. Safet Mesht, 34 years old. Salim Mesht, 41 years old. Sharif Mesht, 35 years old. Senad Mitic, 19 years old. Shevko Mitic, 49 years old. Suad Mitic, 28 years old. Shukriya Mitic, 41 years old. Muya Muhammadagic, 55 years old. Omer Muhammadagic, 24 years old. Mustafa Muhammadagic, 49 years old. Abdullah Muharamovic, 28 years old. Adil Muharamovic, 21 years old. Ahmed Muharamovic, unknown. Abdullah Muharamovic, 56 years old. Jamaluddin Muharamovic, 43 years old. Hamdia Muharamovic, 17 years old. Hassan Muharamovic, 54 years old. Hassan Muharamovic, 67 years old. Hussein Muharamovic, 67 years old. Ibrahim Muharamovic, 54 years old. Ismet Muharramovich, 53 years old. Ismet Muharramovich, unknown age. Mahmud Muharramovich, 33 years old. Muya Muharramovich, 41 years old. Mustafa Muharramovich, 41 years old. Nazir Muharramovich, 20 years old. Nusrat Muharramovich, unknown age. Rauf Muharramovich, 35 years old. Rizo Muharramovich, unknown age. Shaban Muharramovich, 23 years old. Shahbaz Muharramovich, 20 years old. Shahin Muharramovich, 57 years old. Vahid Muharramovich, unknown age. Zai Muharramovich, unknown age. Amir Muharramovich, 21 years old. Asimovich, 53 years old. Asimovich, 43 years old. Bahramovich, 36 years old. Begayib Mohich, 22 years old. Bego Mohich, 40 years old. Begto Mohich, 53 years old. Beriz Mohich, 25 years old. Besi Mohich, 59 years old. Chazi Mohich, 35 years old. Jabad Mohich, 28 years old. Emir Mohich, 24 years old. Fadil Mohich, 32 years old. Fahrudin Mohich, 24 years old. Ferid Mohich, 27 years old. Haydin Mohich, 23 years old. Hayro Mohich, 25 years old. Hayro Mohich, 52 years old. Hayrudin Mohich, 28 years old. Hayrudin Mohich, 45 years old. Hamdia Mohich, 38 years old. Hamid Mohich, 39 years old. Hassan Mohich, 51 years old.
My name is Taya Suffer. Today I will be reading the names of 100 victims who were murdered during the genocide in Srebrenica. Hasim Mohich, 15 years old. Hasib Mohich, 22 years old. Hidayat Mohich, 29 years old. Hussein Mohich, 54 years old. Huso Mohich, 55 years old. Ibrahim Mohich, 47 years old. Ismet Mohich, 45 years old. Ismet Mohich, 47 years old. Yusuf Mohich, 54 years old. Kadria Mohich, 38 years old. Kamil Mohich, 40 years old. Kira Mohich, 33 years old. Mohammed Mohich, 34 years old. Mehmed Mohich, 35 years old. Mehmed Alia Mohich, 28 years old. Nejad Mohich, 21 years old. Nasib Mohich, 11 years old. Nuria Mohich, 55 years old. Osman Mohich, 51 years old. Ramiz Mohich, 42 years old. Rama Mohich, 67 years old. Reja Mohich, 53 years old. Rashid Mohich, 46 years old. Resko Mohich, 37 years old. Sabahuddin Muhic, 19 years old. Shaban Muhic, 50 years old. Sado Muhic, 46 years old. Sead Muhic, 22 years old. Shefik Muhic, 24 years old. Saeed Muhic, 27 years old. Samir Muhic, 21 years old. Shamso Muhic, 17 years old. Shukriya Muhic, 59 years old. Sumbul Muhic, 52 years old. Adem Mujanovic, 41 years old. Almin Mujanovic, 16 years old. Amir Mujanovic, 49 years old. Asi Mujanovic, 38 years old. Bajro Mujanovic, 43 years old. Dervish Mujanovic, 54 years old. Cemal Mujanovic, unknown age at death. Hasim Mujanovic, 30 years old. Ibish Mujanovic, 37 years old. Kiram Mujanovic, 32 years old. Mensudin Mujanovic, unknown age at death. Mujo Mujanovic, 49 years old. Mujo Mujanovic, unknown age at death. Muradif Mujanovic, 38 years old. Mustafa Mujanovic, 38 years old. Nizam Mujanovic, 26 years old. Osmo Mujanovic, 15 years old. Ramiz Mujanovic, unknown age at death. Rasi Mujanovic, 33 years old. Sabit Mujanovic, 48 years old. Sabriya Mujanovic, 38 years old. Salkan Mujanovic, 33 years old. Shechan Mujanovic, 40 years old. Selim Mujanovic, 55 years old. Selman Mujanovic, 66 years old. Sumbul Mujanovic, 54 years old. Vasil Mujanovic, 52 years old. Vesudin Mujanovic, 30 years old. Amir Mujcic, 31 years old. Enver Mujcic, 32 years old. Hakia Mujcic, 55 years old. Khalid Mujcic, 31 years old. Halil Mujcic, 19 years old. Hasib Mujcic, 23 years old. Idris Mujcic, 55 years old. Midhat Mujcic, 20 years old. Muharrem Mujcic, 34 years old. Omer Mujcic, 25 years old. Rashid Mujcic, 55 years old. Zuhdo Mujcic, 43 years old. Adem Mujcinovic, 33 years old. Alia Mujcinovic, 33 years old. Aljo Mujcinovic, 56 years old. Almedin Mujcinovic, 19 years old. Asim Mujcinovic, 62 years old. Abdullah Mujcinovic, 31 years old. Eyüp Mujcinovic, 35 years old. Elvir Mujcinovic, 20 years old. Anis Mujcinovic, 20 years old. Halid Mujcinovic, 54 years old. Hasib Mujcinovic, 20 years old. Hussein Mujcinovic, 19 years old. Ibrahim Mujcinovic, 19 years old. Kadria Mujcinovic, 29 years old. Kemal Mujcinovic, 19 years old. Mehmed Mujcinovic, 54 years old. Meshan Mujcinovic, 24 years old. Mujo Mujcinovic, 44 years old. Mujo Mujcinovic, 56 years old. Nesad Mujcinovic, 23 years old. Nezir Mujcinovic, 16 years old. Nezir Mujcinovic, 47 years old. Niyaz Mujcinovic, 20 years old. Omer Mujcinovic, 59 years old. Osman Mujcinovic, 51 years old. Pashaga Mujcinovic, 21 years old. Thank you.
My name is Ermina Valicic. Today, I will be reading the names of 100 victims who were murdered during the Srebrenica genocide. Ragib Mujcinovic, 42 years old. Ramiz Mujcinovic, 18 years old. Ramiz Mujcinovic, 40 years old. Rasim Mujcinovic, 45 years old. Reshad Mujcinovic, 21 years old. Sakib Mujcinovic, 34 years old. Suleiman Mujcinovic, 18 years old. Abdullah Muic, 25 years old. Abdullah Muic, 35 years old. Abid Muic, 25 years old. Adil Muic, 57 years old. Admir Muic, 21 years old. Ahmet Muic, 35 years old. Ahmet Muic, 62 years old. Ahmet Muic, 70 years old. Ahmo Muic, 52 years old. Alia Muich, 23 years old. Alia Muich, 37 years old. Alia Muich, 37 years old. Alia Muich, 63 years old. Alyo Muich, 51 years old. Almir Muich, 20 years old. Amir Muich, 20 years old. Amir Muich, 20 years old. Asim Muich, 16 years old. Asim Muich, 24 years old. Asim Muich, 25 years old. Asim Muich, 45 years old. Avdo Muich, 33 years old. Abdullah Muich, 50 years old. Azem Muich, 26 years old. Azem Muich, 26 years old. Azem Muich, 31 years old. Aziz Muich, 55 years old. Bahria Muich, 23 years old. Bairo Muich, 36 years old. Bairo Muich, 62 years old. Bairo Muich, 65 years old. Bechir Muich, 27 years old. Bego Muich, 49 years old. Bego Muich, 59 years old. Behaia Muich, 51 years old. Behrudin Muich, 20 years old. Bekria Muich, 36 years old. Beris Muich, 17 years old. Drevad Muich, 19 years old. Drevad Muich, 27 years old. Drevad Muich, 29 years old. Drevad Muich, 39 years old. Edin Muich, 17 years old. Ekrem Muich, 24 years old. Ekrem Muich, 38 years old. Elvir Muich, 23 years old. Esad Muich, 18 years old. Esad Muich, 24 years old. Esad Muich, unknown age at death. Esed Muich, 51 years old. Fadil Muich, 35 years old. Fahrudin Muich, 21 years old. Fahrudin Muic, 25 years old. Fahrudin Muic, 26 years old. Fahrudin Muic, 26 years old. Fatima Muic, 52 years old. Hayrudin Muic, 16 years old. Hayrudin Muic, 35 years old. Hayrudin Muic, 47 years old. Hakia Muic, 26 years old. Hakia Muic, 61 years old. Halid Music, 40 years old. Halil Muic, 17 years old. Hamdia Muic, 22 years old. Hamdia Muic, 32 years old. Hamdia Muic, 33 years old. Haris Muic, 19 years old. Hassan Muic, 17 years old. Hassan Muic, 36 years old. Hassan Muic, unknown age at death. Hazim Muic, 15 years old. Himzo Muic, 31 years old. Himzo Muic, 36 years old. Himzo Muic, 55 years old. Hussein Muic, 22 years old. Husa Muic, 33 years old. Ibrahim Muic, 40 years old. Ibrahim Muic, 58 years old. Ibra Muic, 21 years old. Ibra Muic, 43 years old. Izet Muic, 31 years old. Yakub Muic, 26 years old. Yunus Muic, 40 years old. Yusuf Muic, 35 years old. Yusuf Muic, 40 years old. Qasim Muic, 51 years old. Kiram Muic, 25 years old. Malcho Muic, 45 years old. Manyo Muic, 35 years old. Mehan Muic, 38 years old. Mehmed Muic, 46 years old. Mehmed Muic, 21 years old. Mehmed Muic, 28 years old.
My name is Yasmina Rejovic. Today I will be reading the names of 100 victims who were murdered during the genocide in Srebrenica. Meho Muic, 37 years old. Meho Muic, 41 years old. Meshan Mujic, 19 years old. Mevlid Mujic, 23 years old. Miralem Mujic, 21 years old. Miralem Mujic, 47 years old. Mirsad Mujic, 16 years old. Mirsad Mujic, 25 years old. Muammer Mujic, 19 years old. Muhammad Mujic, 23 years old. Muhammad Mujic, 28 years old. Muharrem Mujic, 18 years old. Muhyiddin Mujic, 32 years old. Muyo Mujic, 18 years old. Muyo Mujic, 23 years old. Muyo Mujic, 43 years old. Muyo Mujic, 49 years old. Muyo Mujic, 60 years old. Nejad Mujic, 29 years old. Najib Mujic, 30 years old. Nazir Mujic, 61 years old. Nihad Mujic, unknown age at death. Nufik Mujic, 16 years old. Nusret Mujic, 20 years old. Omer Mujic, 41 years old. Omer Mujic, 43 years old. Omer Mujic, 43 years old. Omer Mujic, 57 years old. Osman Mujic, 20 years old. Osman Mujic, 33 years old. Osman Mujic, 59 years old. Rahman Mujic, 61 years old. Ramiz Mujic, 17 years old. Ramiz Mujic, 25 years old. Ramiz Mujic, 35 years old. Ramiz Mujic, 43 years old. Ramo Mujic, 27 years old. Ramo Mujic, 48 years old. Ramo Mujic, 49 years old. Ramo Mujic, 49 years old. Ramo Mujic, 52 years old. Ramo Mujic, 52 years old. Recep Mujic, 24 years old. Rejo Mujic, 44 years old. Refik Mujic, 25 years old. Rashad Mujic, 21 years old. Rashad Mujic, 33 years old. Resho Mujic, unknown age at death. Rauf Mujic, 47 years old. Rifet Mujic, 25 years old. Rizvan Mujic, 54 years old. Rizvo Mujic, 21 years old. Shaban Mujic, 43 years old. Sabit Mujic, 25 years old. Sadik Mujic, 22 years old. Said Mujic, 19 years old. Sakib Mujic, 30 years old. Salchin Mujic, 57 years old. Salim Mujic, 21 years old. Salim Mujic, 25 years old. Samir Mujic, 19 years old. Samir Mujic, 22 years old. Sead Mujic, 19 years old. Sead Mujic, 30 years old. Sedin Mujic, 17 years old. Shafik Mujic, 20 years old. Shafik Mujic, 31 years old. Shafik Mujic, 38 years old. Seyad Mujic, 28 years old. Selim Mujic, 45 years old. Semir Mujic, 15 years old. Sanad Mujic, 21 years old. Sanahid Mujic, 30 years old. Shaval Mujic, 42 years old. Shevko Mujic, 62 years old. Smayo Mujic, 44 years old. Smayo Mujic, 66 years old. Suad Mujic, 28 years old. Suad Mujic, 29 years old. Suleiman Mujic, 55 years old. Suljo Mujic, 46 years old. Suvad Mujic, 28 years old. Vahid Mujic, 36 years old. Vahidin Mujic, 20 years old. Velid Mujic, 23 years old. Zahid Mujic, 34 years old. Zahid Mujic, 58 years old. Zaim Mujic, 56 years old. Zenuddin Mujic, 18 years old. Ziad Mujic, unknown age at death. Zio Mujic, 27 years old. Zuhriyat Mujic, 33 years old. Amir Mujicic, 31 years old. Bayro Mujicic, 29 years old. Esmir Mujicic, 19 years old. Halid Mujicic, 31 years old. Hasib Mujicic, 42 years old. Ibrahim Mujicic, 59 years old. Behadil Mujkanovic, 35 years old. Esad Mujkanovic, 18 years old.
My name is Zahrina, and today I will be reading the names of the victims of the group 5,501 to 5,600 victims that were murdered during the genocide in Srebrenica. Esmir Mujkanovic, 18 years old. Huso Mujkanovic, 37 years old. Ibra Mujkanovic, 38 years old. Yasmin Mujkanovic, 18 years old. Senad Mujkanovic, 23 years old. Suad Mujkanovic, 20 years old. Almir Mujkic, 21 years old. Bego Mujkic, 41 years old. Enes Mujkic, 33 years old. Fahrudin Mujkic, 26 years old. Hayrudin Mujkic, 47 years old. Hayrudin Mujkic, 48 years old. Hamed Mujkic, 37 years old. Hussein Mujkic, 43 years old. Hussein Mujkic, 20 years old. Idris Mujkic, 47 years old. Ismet Mujkic, 19 years old. Mehan Mujkic, 21 years old. Mehmed Mujkic, 59 years old. Mehmed Mujkic, 59 years old. Mehmed Alia Mujkic, 24 years old. Mehmed Alia Mujkic, 33 years old. Mehmed Mujkic, 17 years old. Nermin Mujkic, 20 years old. Ohran Mujkic, 33 years old. Osman Mujkic, 45 years old. Ramiz Mujkic, 51 years old. Ramo Mujkic, 51 years old. Recep Mujkic, 32 years old. Shaban Mujkic, 40 years old. Seyfullah Mujkic, 65 years old. Shevko Mujkic, unknown age at death. Vaid Mujkic, 25 years old. Ziad Mujkic, 30 years old. Zuhdia Mujkic, 33 years old. Zuriyet Mujkic, 38 years old. Adem Mulalic, 54 years old. Ahmo Mulalic, 57 years old. Hayra Mulalic, 19 years old. Hayra Mulalic, 54 years old. Kemal Mulalic, 47 years old. Meho Mulalic, 22 years old. Muriz Mulalic, 22 years old. Refik Mulalic, 33 years old. Sakip Mulalic, 36 years old. Saria Mulalic, 31 years old. Senad Mulalic, 29 years old.
Abid Muminovic, 40 years old. Adem Muminovic, unknown age at the death. Ala Muminovic, unknown age at the death. Amir Muminovic, 31 years old. Avda Muminovic, 58 years old. Aziz Muminovic, 33 years old. Bayram Muminovic, 58 years old. Dalia Muminovic, 29 years old. Cemal Muminovic, 51 years old. Cemal Muminovic, 55 years old. Elvir Muminovic, 17 years old. Enesa Muminovic, 22 years old. Fadil Muminovic, 46 years old. Fehim Muminovic, 38 years old. Hayrudin Muminovic, 39 years old. Hamdia Muminovic, 42 years old. Hamed Muminovic, 65 years old. Hamid Muminovic, 32 years old. Hassan Muminovic, 45 years old. Hasib Muminovic, 42 years old. Hassan Muminovic, 17 years old. Hazim Muminovic, 24 years old. Ibrahim Muminovic, 43 years old. Ibrahim Muminovic, 57 years old. Ibrahim Muminovic, 63 years old. Ismet Muminovic, 39 years old. Ismet Muminovic, 47 years old. Izzet Muminovic, 23 years old. Yusuf Muminovic, 52 years old. Yusuf Muminovic, 56 years old. Mejdo Muminovic, 39 years old. Mehmed Muminovic, 31 years old. Mehmed Alia Muminovic, 37 years old. Mehmed Alia Muminovic, 41 years old. Mensur Muminovic, 18 years old. Mersad Muminovic, 20 years old. Mersadin Muminovic, 17 years old. Mesud Muminovic, 17 years old. Mirhat Muminovic, 21 years old. Mirsad Muminovic, 30 years old. Muhammad Muminovic, 20 years old. Muharrem Muminovic, 49 years old. Muya Muminovic, 22 years old. Munib Muminovic, 30 years old. Munib Muminovic, 39 years old. Munib Muminovic, 41 years old. Mustafa Muminovic, 18 years old. Mustafa Muminovic, 18 years old. Mustafa Muminovic, 30 years old. Mustafa Muminovic, 50 years old. Nejad Muminovic, 21 years old. Nejad Muminovic, 24 years old. Nazir Muminovic, 27 years old.
Nazir Muminovic, 65 years old. Niyaz Muminovic, 28 years old. Osman Muminovic, 36 years old. Rahman Muminovic, 55 years old. Ramiz Muminovic, 26 years old. Ramiz Muminovic, 38 years old. Ramo Muminovic, 47 years old. Rashid Muminovic, 22 years old. Rasim Muminovic, 61 years old. Rasim Muminovic, 63 years old. Recep Muminovic, 32 years old. Rejo Muminovic, 36 years old. Shaban Muminovic, 32 years old. Shaban Muminovic, 55 years old. Saadet Muminovic, 19 years old. Safet Muminovic, 29 years old. Safet Muminovic, 32 years old. Salko Muminovic, 62 years old. Salko Muminovic, 65 years old. Saudin Muminovic, 14 years old. Sead Muminovic, 18 years old. Sanad Muminovic, 19 years old. Suljo Muminovic, 16 years old. Suljo Muminovic, 66 years old. Taib Muminovic, 41 years old. Vahdet Muminovic, 18 years old. Zaim Muminovic, 18 years old. Zehra Muminovic, unknown age at death. Hamed Muratagic, 26 years old. Suleyman Muratagic, 54 years old. Mehmet Murat Hodzic, 38 years old. Munazir Murat Hodzic, 55 years old. Murat Hodzic, 48 years old. Ahmet Muratovic, unknown age at death. Dervish Muratovic, 37 years old. Cemal Muratovic, 43 years old. Hakia Muratovic, 63 years old. Halil Muratovic, 58 years old. Hasan Muratovic, 55 years old. Hussein Muratovic, 33 years old. Ibrahim Muratovic, 50 years old. Ibrahim Muratovic, 50 years old. Ibrahim Muratovic, 59 years old. Ibrahim Muratovic, unknown age of death. Ibran Muratovic, 46 years old. Islam Muratovic, 58 years old. Yusuf Muratovic, 51 years old. Kada Muratovic, 75 years old. Meho Muratovic, 27 years old. Muammer Muratovic, 18 years old. Muya Muratovic, 20 years old. Mumin Muratovic, 30 years old. Munib Muratovic, 70 years old. Murat Muratovic, 65 years old. Nazif Muratovic, 29 years old. Nazir Muratovic, 23 years old. Nazir Muratovic, 30 years old. Nurif Muratovic, 25 years old. Nuria Muratovic, 55 years old. Rahman Muratovic, unknown age of death. Ramo Muratovic, 33 years old. Ramo Muratovic, 33 years old. Sabahuddin Muratovic, 23 years old. Safet Muratovic, 40 years old. Salih Muratovic, 37 years old. Salko Muratovic, 19 years old. Sinan Muratovic, 58 years old. Mustafa Murtic, 59 years old. Abid Music, 28 years old. Ahmet Music, 56 years old. Bego Music, 26 years old. Bekir Music, 23 years old. Dedo Music, 45 years old. Cemal Music, 25 years old. Edhem Music, 38 years old. Edhem Music, 54 years old. Enver Music, 19 years old. Esad Music, 16 years old. Esad Music, 29 years old. Galib Music, 21 years old. Hayruddin Music, 32 years old. Hamdia Music, 20 years old. Hamdia Music, 51 years old. Hamed Music, 22 years old. Hasan Music, 63 years old. Hashim Music, 57 years old. Hasa Music, 46 years old. Hussein Music, 62 years old. Ibrahim Music, 47 years old. Ibran Music, 43 years old. Ibra Music, 31 years old. Islam Music, 39 years old. Ismet Music, 18 years old. Ismet Music, 45 years old. Kadriya Music, 22 years old. Kemal Music, 27 years old. Mehdin Music, 29 years old. Mehmedalia Music, 26 years old. Mevludin Music, 30 years old. Mevludin Music, unknown age at death.
My name is Marian Kresge. Today I will be reading the names of the victims who were murdered during the genocide in Srebrenica. Mirsad Music, 26 years old. Muhammed Music, 60 years old. Muharrem Music, 61 years old. Muhyiddin Music, 23 years old. Muyo Music, 18 years old. Muyo Music, 62 years old. Musa Music, 45 years old. Mustafa Music, 45 years old. Mustafa Music, 52 years old. Nezir Music, 52, 3 years old. Nuria Music, 52 years old. Nuria Music, 62 years old. Osman Music, 37 years old. Ragib Music, 28 years old. Rahman Music, 53 years old. Reju Music, 57 years old. Reshu Music, 43 years old. Sead Music, 18 years old. Selma Music, 8 years old. Senat Music, 18 years old. Senat Music, 19 years old. Senat Music, 26 years old. Alija Muškić, 38 years old. Alija Muškić, 52 years old. Bego Muškić, 42 years old. Beris Muškić, 18 years old. Cemal Muškić, 42 years old. Fehim Muškić, 43 years old. Hayrudin Muškić, 19 years old. Hasan Muškić, 66 years old. Huso Muškić, 65 years old. Ibiš Muškić, 42 years old. Lutvo Muškić, 26 years old. Mirsad Muškić, 20 years old. Mujo Muškić, 40 years old. Nezir Muškić, 46 years old. Ramiz Muškić, 46 years old. Ramo Muškić, 65 years old. Šabo Muškić, 45 years old. Šabo Muškić, 49 years old. Šačir Muškić, 43 years old. Senad Muškić, 19 years old. Samir Mustabašić, 17 years old. Smail Mustabašić, 59 years old. Abdullah Mustafić, 52 years old. Abdurrahman Mustafić, 62 years old. Adem Mustafić, 75 years old. Adil Mustafić, 59 years old. Alija Mustafić, 22 years old. Alija Mustafić, 23 years old. Alija Mustafić, 65 years old. Alia Mustafic, 75 years old. Alio Mustafic, 58 years old. Amir Mustafic, 16 years old. Amir Mustafic, 21 years old. Amir Mustafic, 21 years old. Asim Mustafic, 25 years old. Asim Mustafic, 30 years old. Asim Mustafic, 57 years old. Avdo Mustafic, 54 years old. Avdo Mustafic, unknown age at death. Azem Mustafic, 36 years old. Azmir Mustafic, 21 years old. Bego Mustafic, 51 years old. Behadil Mustafic, 38 years old. Behudin Mustafic, 32 years old. Bekir Mustafic, 63 years old. Besim Mustafic, 23 years old. Chamil Mustafic, 29 years old. Chazim Mustafic, 32 years old. Chazim Mustafic, 59 years old. Dahmo Mustafic, 31 years old. Daud Mustafic, unknown age at death. Jemal Mustafic, 62 years old. Jemal Mustafic, 43 years old. Jemal Mustafic, 47 years old. Jemal Mustafic, 33 years old. Edehem Mustafic, 55 years old. Ekrem Mustafic, 25 years old. Emin Mustafic, 26 years old. Emin Mustafic, 60 years old. Enes Mustafic, 48 years old. Enis Mustafic, 21 years old. Esad Mustafic, 28 years old. Esed Mustafic, 27 years old. Fakir Mustafic, 17 years old. Fakir Mustafic, 24 years old. Faruk Mustafic, 20 years old. Ferit Mustafic, 32 years old. Fikret Mustafic, 23 years old. Fuad Mustafic, 20 years old. Haydin Mustafic, 36 years old. Hakia Mustafic, 60 years old. Khalid Mustafic, 27 years old. Hamdia Mustafic, 31 years old. Hamdia Mustafic, 34 years old. Ahmed Mustafic, 52 years old. Hassan Mustafic, 50 years old. Hasib Mustafic, 35 years old.
My name is Elvisa Likavic. Today I will be reading the names of 100 victims who were murdered during the genocide in Srebrenica. Fahir Masic, 21 years old. Fahim Masic, 36 years old. Haydin Masic, 25 years old. Hairo Masic, 49 years old. Hakia Masic, 59 years old. Hassan Masic, 23 years old. Hassan Masic, 28 years old. Himzo Masic, 23 years old. Ibrahim Masic, 37 years old. Idris Masic, 60 years old. Muharrem Masic, 57 years old. Moya Masic, 54 years old. Moya Masic, 55 years old. Nejad Masic, 28 years old. Ohran Masic, 36 years old. Ramo Masic, 38 years old. Rejo Masic, 24 years old. Shaban Masic, 65 years old. Sadem Masic, 19 years old. Sadia Masic, 45 years old. Sadik Masic, 43 years old. Sadmir Masic, 18 years old. Sado Masic, 48 years old. Sead Masic, 26 years old. Shecho Masic, 32 years old. Said Masic, 23 years old. Seidalia Masic, 22 years old. Seifo Masic, 64 years old. Senusia Masic, unknown age at death. Shevko Masic, 29 years old. Suleiman Masic, 46 years old. Sulyo Masic, 15 years old. Sulyo Masic, 54 years old. Sulyo Masic, unknown age at death. Zilha Masic, 23 years old. Ahmed Meshuselats, 24 years old. Atif Mehanovic, 64 years old. Bahruddin Mehanovic, 21 years old. Fadil Mehanovic, 27 years old. Hassan Mehanovic, 23 years old. Himzo Mehanovic, unknown age at death. Hussein Mehanovic, 29 years old. Kadriya Mehanovic, 33 years old. Kemal Mehanovic, 21 years old. Mehmed Mehanovic, 44 years old. Mehmed Mehanovic, 58 years old. Mehmed Mehanovic, 66 years old. Mehmed Mehanovic, unknown age at death. Mirsad Mehanovic, 30 years old. Mohammed Mehanovic, 22 years old. Moyo Mehanovic, unknown age at death. Mustafa Mehanovic, 46 years old. Nazif Mehanovic, 55 years old. Ohran Mehanovic, 34 years old. Omer Mehanovic, 29 years old. Osman Mehanovic, 45 years old. Ramiz Mehanovic, 40 years old. Rifat Mehanovic, 39 years old. Sabahuddin Mehanovic, 35 years old. Safet Mehanovic, 30 years old. Sifet Mehanovic, 17 years old. Smile Mehanovic, 27 years old. Suljo Mehanovic, 53 years old. Zuriet Mehanovic, 17 years old. Ahmedin Mehic, 21 years old. Ahmo Mehic, 22 years old. Ahmo Mehic, 54 years old. Alia Mehic, 59 years old. Amir Mehic, 15 years old. Azim Mehic, 19 years old. Aziz Mehic, 33 years old. Bayazid Mehic, 23 years old. Bayro Mehic, 30 years old. Behudin Mehic, 28 years old. Beriz Mehic, 29 years old. Damir Mehic, 26 years old. Edhem Mehic, 45 years old. Edo Mehic, 28 years old. Enis Mehic, 18 years old. Fuad Mehic, 64 years old. Hamed Mehic, 20 years old. Hamed Mehic, 56 years old. Haris Mehic, 20 years old. Hasib Mehic, 32 years old. Hasiba Mehic, 88 years old. Hashim Mehic, 25 years old. Hazim Mehic, 19 years old. Hadib Mehic, 18 years old. Hussein Mehic, 47 years old. Ibrahim Mehic, 38 years old. Ibrahim Mehic, 46 years old. Ibra Mehic, 48 years old. Idris Mehic, 33 years old. Idris Mehic, 52 years old. Idris Mehic, 63 years old. Yunus Mehic, 36 years old. Yusuf Mehic, 25 years old. Kemal Mehic, 20 years old. Kiram Mehic, 27 years old. Lutvo Mehic, 17 years old.
Hello, my name is Nedina Zrnanovic, and today I will be reading the names of 100 victims who were murdered during the genocide in Srebrenica. Sead Mustafic, 22 years old. Sead Mustafic, 33 years old. Sead Mustafic, 37 years old. Seydalia Mustafic, 24 years old. Seydalia Mustafic, 39 years old. Seydalia Mustafic, 40 years old. Seydalia Mustafic, 42 years old. Seydalia Mustafic, 49 years old. Seyfuddin Mustafic, 29 years old. Selim Mustafic, 62 years old. Selman Mustafic, 55 years old. Selman Mustafic, 59 years old. Senad Mustafic, 29 years old. Senahid Mustafic, 19 years old. Senahid Mustafic, 21 years old. Sanahid Mustafic, 23 years old. Sanahid Mustafic, 27 years old. Shefkat Mustafic, 41 years old. Shefko Mustafic, unknown age at death. Smail Mustafic, 30 years old. Shukriya Mustafic, 51 years old. Suleiman Mustafic, 55 years old. Sulja Mustafic, 58 years old. Taib Mustafic, 42 years old. Wahid Mustafic, 35 years old. Zaim Mustafic, 24 years old. Ziad Mustafic, 23 years old. Zikret Mustafic, 46 years old. Edin Mutapcic, 17 years old. Hassan Mutapcic, 58 years old. Mehmet Mutapcic, 60 years old. Shahin Mutapcic, 46 years old. Seyfo Mutapcic, 55 years old. Hamed Nalic, 60 years old. Ibra Nalic, 56 years old. Safet Nalic, 57 years old. Aziz Nekic, 32 years old. Eyüp Nekic, 41 years old. Mehmet Nekic, 60 years old. Adil Nuhanovic, 82 years old. Ahmo Nuhanovic, 21 years old. Ayo Nuhanovic, 60 years old. Asim Nuhanovic, 58 years old. Dahmo Nuhanovic, 62 years old. Jemo Nuhanovic, 18 years old. Esad Nuhanovic, 32 years old. Esed Nuhanovic, 45 years old. Hayrudin Nuhanovic, 31 years old. Ibra Nuhanovic, 53 years old. Muhammad Nuhanovic, 21 years old. Nasiha Nuhanovic, 48 years old. Pashan Nuhanovic, 56 years old. Rasim Nuhanovic, 29 years old. Shefik Nuhanovic, 36 years old. Selim Nuhanovic, 43 years old. Senad Nuhanovic, 29 years old. Sanahid Nuhanovic, 21 years old. Smail Nuhanovic, 36 years old. Vahid Nuhanovic, 33 years old. Vehbia Nuhanovic, 33 years old. Almas Nukic, unknown age at death. Amir Nukic, 53 years old. Arif Nukic, 32 years old. Asim Nukic, 24 years old. Asim Nukic, 58 years old. Aziz Nukic, 35 years old. Azmir Nukic, 17 years old. Bayro Nukic, 45 years old. Bekir Nukic, 65 years old. Behudin Nukic, 27 years old. Cemal Nukic, 16 years old. Eyüp Nukic, unknown age at death. Elmas Nukic, 33 years old. Enis Nukic, 27 years old. Esad Nukic, 18 years old. Fadil Nukic, 30 years old. Fadil Nukic, 33 years old. Halil Nukic, 58 years old. Hamid Nukic, unknown age at death. Hasib Nukic, 44 years old. Hazim Nukic, 23 years old. Hussein Nukic, 59 years old. Huso Nukic, 63 years old. Ibrahim Nukic, 48 years old. Ibran Nukic, 47 years old. Ibro Nukic, 40 years old. Ikan Nukic, 21 years old. Ismet Nukic, 41 years old. Izudin Nukic, 17 years old. Yasmin Nukic, 17 years old. Yusuf Nukic, 19 years old. Yusuf Nukic, 37 years old. Yusuf Nukic, 62 years old. Mehmet Nukic, 29 years old. Mehmet Nukic, 35 years old. Mehmet Nukic, 64 years old. Mehmet Alia Nukic, 18 years old. Meho Nukic, 47 years old. Mensur Nukic, 20 years old. Mirsad Nukic, 25 years old.